Objectively, that's how I feel. Well, maybe that's not objective. That's very subjective. Anyways. Okay, turn it off. That's all we can afford. What's going on, you guys? Steve here. And today we're going to be talking about music production. I'm going to show you guys a couple really simple ways to beef up your music production and add more character to your music. Looking back at some of my early music production, I think I had some really cool concepts, but most of the songs were pretty hollow and they just sounded really naked because I wasn't effectively layering my tracks. Essentially, I'm going to show you how to prevent that. In this video, we're going to be dissecting some of my Ableton projects and going through some of my personal music production. That's enough yapping. Let's get into this. So first up, we're going to be checking out what I call the reverse reverb effect. This is the project for a song I produced called Mind Game. Let's listen to it first. I previously made a tutorial on how to achieve this effect. It's very simple. You can make this in less than a minute. I'll link that one below. Let's listen to it on its own. And let's mute it. It's a pretty simple sound, but I think it makes a huge difference. I think this song sounds pretty bare without it. Those small accents and details make a huge difference. This is honestly something I became super mindful of after listening to a bunch of Eptic songs. I personally think he does a fantastic job of making his songs very cinematic and sound lively. That's something I definitely try to convey in my music. Even if it's just small stuff like this, I don't want it to feel like it's just some basic loop that I just dragged in there with no rhyme or reason. I typically use this effect with vocals, but you can honestly use it with anything. On the opening track of my new EP, Isolation 2, I actually used it on a synth. You can get super creative with it. There's no one way to do it. Next up, we have delay. I honestly slap delay on everything like barbecue sauce. I'm kind of joking, but I'm pretty serious. Anyways, here's a project for my remix of We Could Be Loved by Hayden James. I used delay on this ARP stack to make the sound much wider. It helps certain elements of the song stand out in the mix so it doesn't sound super flat. If you don't use delay in your songs, you can tell, and they sound like you're, listening to the song on some cheap headphones, even if you do have like really nice headphones. Objectively, that's how I feel. Well, maybe that's not objective. That's very subjective. Anyways, let's listen to it first. Okay, so this is an ARP that I made in Serum. Let's listen to it dry first. It's a pretty simple sound. It's not super crazy. That one doesn't have delay, but I made a duplicate in a higher octave that does have delay, and it has reverb and OTT on top of it. So let's listen to that. The layer with delay and reverb does a bunch of the heavy lifting. I like to use delay on my chord stacks. Typically, it just helps me achieve a wider anthemic type sound. Put 'em up. I also like to use delay on hats and cymbals. You can create some really cool underlying grooves. I like to use manual timing on my delay. I leave the filter on, my feedback. I usually turn my feedback down, but I mean, you can play with it and do whatever you want. It typically looks something like this, near the 30 to 7 range-ish. Sometimes I'll use 10 milliseconds. It depends on the song. Delay is kind of like hot honey sauce on pizza. It's one of those things you don't really appreciate, or you don't really know what you're missing until you try it. Then you can tell with all of your previous production, like, oh snap, this sounds super flat. A couple bonus sounds to beef up your music production: cymbals and noise. I like to add a layer of bright noise to my songs. I'll typically go into Serum and just create a second layer that's just white noise. I also like to add open cymbals. If you make relatively simplistic songs that don't have too many moving parts and a pretty straightforward melody, noise and cymbals can help mask those gaps. I use noise on almost everything. I'm typically pretty mellow with my noise, but there are some songs like my Splinters remix where it's very loud and proud. But yeah, it just depends on what you want to do with it. Last up, we have atmospheric sounds. Atmospheric sounds are the difference between your song sounding like these Frankenstein amalgamations of different samples you just dragged and dropped, or being a cohesive, lively, living, breathing song. This is actually an unreleased track that I made during COVID quarantine. Yeah, let's play this. I never dropped this song. Honestly, I like this song a lot, but I just never put it out. Always put your music out. Let's check this out on its own. It's essentially the first note of this melody, and I just automated the volume to rise. There's no crazy moving parts. It's just a basic serum patch and just volume automation. That's literally it. It doesn't always take a bunch of crazy moving parts and you gotta add this and you gotta add that and you gotta have 20 OTTs. Like, this is fine. Let's listen to it with some drums. That's actually my favorite part of the song. You can use all types of stuff for atmospheric sounds. On my new EP Isolation 2, I recorded my dog on my phone barking at the FedEx guy, and I implemented that on all of the songs in different ways. I used it for drum fills. I used it on intros to some of the songs. I used it for the build-up on Ballistic. To me, it's those small details that really make a difference in your songs. There's no right or wrong way to go about this stuff. It just boils down to how creative you really want to be. So yeah, these are some very simple ways that I beef up my music production and just add more character to my songs so they don't sound super basic and loopy. I hope this stuff helps you guys. You guys let me know in the comments if you want to see more production videos like this. I enjoy making these, but yeah, let me know what you think. As always, I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.